Hello, my name's Laura Francescangeli and I'm attending the MA TESOL at Woosong University. Today I will be speaking to you about personalizing English learning through Pinterest and Flashcard Go in order to promote creative self-study experiences and tools. Learning and teaching in a modern age. How do we use technology not just for its novelty factor, but actually use it meaningfully and beneficially? Can we bring mobile technology devices and tools into the EFL language learning classroom and use them in a creative and inspiring way to enhance motivation among our learners? With technology being far easier to access, it's also available through a diversity of devices, mobile tablets and desktop computers. Teachers are using the same technology platforms as students, so there isn't a big learning or social divide, since this technology is used in everyday people's lives. These days, technology-enhanced language learning promotes more student-centered options for learning due to the affordability of technological devices. There are more personalized ways to acquire specific information and learn from it. Also, the multimedia effect of learning, which combines text and images, is easily and freely accessed throughout the internet. Mir mentions 3 processes of active learning for meaningful impact. So Mir mentions 3 processes of active learning for meaningful impact: selecting relevant material, organizing the material, then integrating these with any former understanding or knowledge of that material. Now let's look at the role of the teacher in a technology-enhanced language learning type of classroom or lesson. Okay, so simply, the teacher's role should take on more of an observer and tracking role in these types of lessons and encourage a more student-centered approach of learning style. Teachers can monitor their students' online activity and provide them with useful guidelines and tips. So how can a platform like Pinterest lend itself to student-centered learning? The production of a successful student-centered approach to language learning, especially through the use of TEL, can be met by providing good lesson models for integrating tasks with practical elements that aim to implement the technology in an enriching way. Encouraging students to actively participate and engage in their own learning under guided practice will optimize their learning. What is Pinterest? Pinterest is one of the most popular social media websites used for collecting and sharing images. Its main purpose is to function as a digital discovery tool. With Pinterest, students benefit from the curational aspects of collecting one's own information. Students are responsible for their learning, and there's also an element of participatory culture, where learners can effectively join in the activity of acquiring new knowledge independently through. How can Pinterest lend itself to a more student-centered learning style? Well, students will be using it as their own personal digital research tool. They'll be creating boards, making a collection of useful pins, using icons to find similar suggestions, sharing, so repurposing information, then passing it on again, commenting, and linking to useful websites. Okay, so let's have a look at Pinterest in action and see how it could possibly work as a learning tool to aid some of your lesson plans. So I've created 2 boards here for an example. So art gallery, day at the museum. So what you might want to do is get your students to create these kind of boards. So they obviously have to have a Pinterest account, which you can help them easily with. They just need an email and address, and it's free. So create the boards for art gallery, and they can add anything and have a lot of associated material. Okay, so we'll just go back and look at day at the museum. So we have another board. So this is a great way to just bring up research ideas for actual galleries to visit, and often you'll get other sort of associated types of imagery. So if you want to use Pinterest and collect something outside of the Pinterest application, say you're looking up Google because you want to find some styles of animation to look at and discuss with your friends, this is the way to do it. You go on the website, look for the Pinterest icon, click here. Another box will open up where you can save it to your board that you've created. So here's the board here, save. Great, so we've saved it. So you should be able to find it in your boards later on. So this is useful if you're just wanting to go through the internet and research your subject material and collect some exciting new information. An important thing to focus on with online social learning is the acquiring of affinity spaces, creative communities, and sharing. These are the three main authentic ways students can communicate with their peers in the target language. What does a teacher need to do in order to accomplish Pinterest-style learning? Well, the teacher can offer online activities and provide students with useful guidelines and tips, making sure there's a clear purpose for using this particular application and that your students are using it properly, as in collecting enough relevant information and using other options like commenting and sharing. Curation, organisation, evaluation, personalisation. These are 4 main things that you want to focus on achieving with this type of lesson. If you can cover these areas well, then I feel like you're getting the hang of personalisation in a really effective way that will enhance your students' learning. Curation. This is an exciting part of collecting information for your lesson and providing some knowledge of your own. Students can get really excited at this stage because they're collecting things that they're really, really interested in and they're excited to pass on to everyone else. Organisation. Putting the information together coherently and so that everyone else understands your thought process. Evaluation. Students should be able to judge the information and see if it's relevant and of a quality standard. So they should be able to step back and look at what they're collecting to learn and see if it's suitable. Personalization. With students making decisions by themselves and choosing options of their own preference, they can ultimately focus on what is the most relevant and useful material to them and their learning. What are they most excited about from the information they've gathered? Students have the potential to create meaningful connections to their more personalised selections and attain deeper learning. Flashcards are a great way to learn languages. They offer the option to learn through visuals combined with text, but thankfully they've come a long way with technology. We can now use them with their mobile phones or iPads by downloading applications like Flashcard Go, and you can have instant images to work with and help with your memory. With handy website mobile applications, you can create infinite images and words to personalize any kind of learning. This is particularly useful for lessons these days since it's affordable, and you can complete projects with your students where they can go around their neighbourhoods, collect images instantly, and then present them to the class the next day. Hey, Flashcards Go is only available for iOS devices, but as you can see, it's a really good way to be able to use technology to practice something as simple and as effective as using flashcards for memory purposes. So you can sync and save with iCloud, it's portable and you can use offline. You can add photos and text, track your progress because they have little diagrams that you can practice. If you take a photograph and of a diagram, you can actually hide parts of the diagram and the vocabulary and then practice and then reveal the words to see how many you got correct. So there's a lot of great features with this particular application. It's very simple to use. So with mobile devices and applications like Flashcard Go, you can have your students go into the local area or their neighbourhoods, collect images instantly so that they can describe a story or present some of their new vocabulary that they've learned. It's all done really quickly, instantly, and then they can have this on their device to practice and memorise later. So here you can see the really simple interface for Flashcard Go. You've got all the little decks set up there with spaces for you to fill in with your whatever it is that you personally want to learn. So you can save into the little card spaces anything that is relevant to what you want to learn. Here's an example of one of the flashcards. So simple word, obviously. There we've got house. Then when you swipe up, it should reveal the photograph that you've taken to identify the new piece of vocabulary with. So this enables learners to be out and about, online, offline, taking photos of places, wherever you are, objects that fascinate you, and keeping track of what you want to learn on the spot. So in conclusion to today's workshop on personalizing English language lessons with Pinterest and Flashcard Go, I think these are both great applications to use and try to merge with your lesson plans. Maybe don't solely rely on this kind of technology, but it can certainly enhance the learning of individuals in the classroom, and they can have ample time to practice at home. The lesson procedures explored through this workshop today show the potential of technology to encourage autonomous and self-directed learning among your students. Of course, there can be some downfalls to just relying solely on the technology. You have to be present as a teacher, you do have to guide students, and you have to make sure that they're not being distracted. The tools that we've discussed here are extremely adaptable across all technology, and the material can be easily accessed from outside the classroom for further study as well as inside the classroom. In prescribing thoughtful lessons that are engaging and that align well with some more of the traditional principles of learning, we can easily assimilate technology into our learning environments and perhaps encourage learners to activate their own creative skills and produce work with which they can be personally involved with.